Greetings, Glitter Gang, and welcome back to Kathryn Scraps Live. My name is Kathryn, and this is a show where I craft live today from our Christmas in July project, which is the, what do I call this? The December Daily Wallet album. How creative that is. Okay, so what this is it's a December Daily enabled style wallet album. Okay. So the what I'm going to do today is I'm going to do the afternoon show. If I'm at like 3:45 and we need to start another wave of crafting, we need to start another like section of the album, then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start it and go over, and then we won't have a show tonight. So I do have a severe weather alert for later in the day, and we've had so many problems with the electricity and the internet on the shows and off the shows. We had internet out on Saturday. We had power out for 3 hours on Sunday. This weekend was bad. And so I'm just thinking, while it's like this, which should only be, this should be the last month of it. After August, my guess is it'll clear up. While it's like this, I might just lean into going over in the afternoons and having longer afternoon shows when there's bad weather predicted for the evening, and then just not doing evening shows. So, because I do have a severe weather alert, that's what we're going to do. And yeah, that's what we're going to do. So this is the Christmas in July project. What we're going to be starting with is the back pockets. So, where we left off was we had done the construction for all of them, for the front pockets, the inside pockets, and the flap to the back pocket. Now we're just going to quickly whip together the back pockets, talk about the template for the back straps, and that'll take us as far as we can go in pure construction on the inserts. So then we'll need to decide if we want to do to finish the construction, if we want to do the matting that we need to do to finish the construction, or if we want to work on the box. We'll see when we get there. But real quickly, we're going to bang out the back pocket. It's not going to take very long at all. So the back pocket is 5 inches by 6 inches is the size of the piece. And then we're going to... No, 5 inches by 6 inches does not make sense. It's actually, 7 inches by 6 inches makes more sense. So 7 inches by 6 inches. And that's going to make the back pockets. So, unfortunately, we can only get 2 per thing, which means we'll need 3 sheets of cardstock to get all 6 of them. So, and again, I am being kind of trying to be stingy with the cardstock where I can, but and cut smart. But, there's only so much I can do. Okay. So, if this is like normal, then what we may do is next summer may have an adapted summer schedule. So we'll just do this for the time being. So we're going to lean heavily into the afternoon shows. The reason being is we've had far less trouble in the afternoons than we have had in the evenings for whatever reason. So yeah, maybe what it means is just in July and August we have a modified schedule. So we'll see. Hopefully next year it just won't be anywhere close to this annoying. All right, so there's 4, and then we'll get the last 2 from this one. All right, so there's the 6. And here's the 5 by 6 inch pieces I have left over. All right. So this is our scrap pile. We have been using the big scraps where we can, but as you can see, we just are really limited on big scraps. So, all right. So once we've got those cut, and you cut as many as you need for however many days you're tracking this December, or if you're not doing it for Christmas at all, then obviously just however many you need for whatever photos for whatever project you're working on, because this does not have to be Christmas related. All right, so on the 7-inch side, score at 1 and at 6. And on the 6-inch side, score at 5. So, yeah, I hope you're all having a good day, a good summer, staying as cool as you can. I know a lot of people have had really weird weather this year, so hopefully next summer will be kinder to all. So my parents had their 45th wedding anniversary over the weekend. And can you believe that they didn't take my suggestion of getting matching sapphire pinky rings seriously? So, what a strange reaction to such a brilliant idea. All right, so now that we've got these scored, and again, these are 7-inch wide by 6-inch long pieces, scored on the 7-inch side at 1 inch and 6 inches, and scored on the 6-inch side at 5 inches, which will make a 5 by 5 square with flaps on 3 sides. Okay, so we're going to fold along all these score lines and burnish. You just had your 43rd. Well, congrats, Mary. What is 43? What's the quote-unquote traditional gift for 43? All I know is 45. I looked up 45 and it's sapphires, so start planning your matching sapphire pinky rings now. No idea we're going to Ireland. Gonna go see the Sapphire Irish Sea. That'll be your sapphires. Your engagement ring is a sapphire? My mom's added to her engagement ring over the years, but the accents are rubies. That's her birthstone. Mine as well. We were both born in July, beginning of July. Well, she's born in the middle of July. But, so she has a lot of rubies. I like rubies, but one thing I've learned is that they're not, for daily wear, they're not super the strongest. So, it's probably why the diamond is, okay, so Mary looked it up, and the traditional gift for 43, there isn't one. I guess the people who made that list got tired. They just started doing 5s after a while. So, but the modern theme is travel. So they were right on with the Ireland trip. All right, so I'm putting tape on all 3 of the flaps. And the tape goes along the score line but not touching it. You want to see a line of the paper in between the score line and the tape, and then of course the other one goes right on the edge, but not over the edge. So Melanie's birthstone is sapphire. I don't know what month that is. And her car is also sapphire. Well, and sapphires are not only blue, although I think that's the most common way that we think of them. But yeah, I've heard they can be all kinds of colors. Can't they? I think they're the one that can be different colors. They're not just blue. September. The travel theme represents how far the couple has come in their shared life to go together. They're going because Notre Dame is playing Navy in Dublin. Funny. Okay. Well, while you're doing that, you can also think about how the trip represents your shared life together. You can just have commentary on it. When people ask you why you're there, you can say that it's a symbolic journey representing your real journey. Topaz can be different colors. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. I do know that topaz can be different colors. And I see blue topaz pretty frequently. Lots of colors of sapphires. And rubies, the stone we know of as ruby, is actually just a red sapphire. Wow. Well, then they could get matching ruby pinky rings. Maybe, and that'll fit the aesthetic of my mom's jewelry better. So. What did they go do? They saw, this is such an educational channel. It is. They went to see the Mission Impossible movie. So that's what they did. What did you do? Oh, it sounded like a terrified gasp. My sister just hiccuped, but it sounded like a terrified gasp. I was like, whoa, what's going on? What's the drama? But it was just a hiccup. Ooh, that'll be a nice experience to have, Mary. Mary's going to do a needlework tour at the National Museum of Ireland of the samples that are not on display. A private tour. So one of the things that we talked about last week was the importance of having hobbies that you do just for like fun and relaxation and things of that nature. And we discussed, you know, how our first session of painting went and how we realized we were missing kind of a critical first step in being able to draw. So we've now, what I did is I found some coloring book pages and just printed them out on our paper for the painting, because the paper's perforated, so I was able to tear it pretty cleanly out of its little binder. So now we can try just coloring and see how we do. Okay, so now that we're at this stage, we're going to cut the corners. And the easiest way to do that is to just take the X that's made by the score line. So you see how there's an X there? You just put that in your Fiskars trimmer and put the center of the X under the wire, and then cut, and that cuts off a pretty good triangle, so that when you go to fold it, these don't touch. So you see how they're not holding each other down. That's what you want. You want them to not overlap each other and not hold each other down. All right. Okay, last one. And now what we're going to do is we're going to attach these to the backs. So the flap that we put on last week has something. Hold on one second. I actually have to mute you for just 1 second. I just, the little fuzzy thing came off my microphone and I didn't want to make it all growly when I was putting it back on. All right, so last week we worked out these flaps, and now we're gonna put what they are flapping over. So they're gonna flap over a pocket. So that's what these pockets are. They're gonna close a pocket. They're the closure for this pocket. And then I'll talk about the template. And we'll make the template, and then that'll be that for this video. And then we will vote on whether the next video will be the box construction or save the box to the end. So you can start weighing in the comments on that if you want to. Basically, your choices are, we'll either finish the construction of the inserts, which means doing some matting. So there's two things that need to be matted on each of these. And that is this pocket that we're attaching now, because that's what the straps that hold the whole thing shut attached to, and then the strap that holds the whole thing shut gets attached, and it has to get covered with pattern paper. So we need 2 pieces of pattern paper to finish the construction technically, and it's well, I guess we technically don't need this one. We really only need this one. So Maybe we'll just do that one. Maybe you won't get to vote, actually. Maybe you won't. All right. Almost there. Oh yes, this is the one that got injured. I remember this one had a small accident. A small little accident. Last one. All right, done. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do the template and add the pattern paper to the back. So the first thing I'm going to do is let's cut some paper. Okay, so we need to pick 6 patterns of paper, and I'm going to try and pick the 6 that I think, 6 that are more pretty versus less pretty, or more appealing to me versus less appealing to me. So I'm just going to kind of divide them based on that. This is Simple Stories. And I'm thinking I'm going to do 2 that are predominantly red, 2 that are predominantly blue, and 2 that have a white or multicolored look. Okay. So right now, these 6 are the most appealing. I'm just gonna flip through. Yeah, that works. All right, so I am gonna cut 4 3/4 inch squares of each of those. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut these down to, you know, squares. And I just printed these whatever size they were in the file. So if they weren't 12, no, they weren't. They were 12 1/4. Sometimes the files are a little bit bigger than 12 by 12. And you have to downsize them to 12 by 12. And that can kind of happen because when you send the paper to the printer, when you send the file to the printer, there has to be overage so that when they cut the paper, it's clean. So they're not printing edge to edge. They're just cutting them apart. And this just, so they cut a little bit off each piece. And so you need that little allowance for the printer. And some companies, in some collections, they fix that and make everything 12 by 12 and some don't. And I've noticed that even within a company, it can be inconsistent. So just always check. Don't just press like, you know, Control P and hope for the best. Well, I mean, you can if it doesn't matter to you if it's a little bit larger. It doesn't matter to me, so I don't get upset about it. But just something to be aware of or look out for with the digital collections. You know, if you need something that's exactly 12 inches, you will want to double check before printing. So yeah, we've all been talking about it, but you know, we have been surprised by how noticeably hotter and more miserable we are this summer. It's definitely been a surprise, because when you're in Florida, you kind of think, you know, aside from the desert parts of the Southwest, you kind of feel like you're in the hot part of the country, you know. But nope. No, you can go. It gets hotter. So. Okay. Is this the last one? Yes. Okay. Good work. And we have some cards and embellishments now as well. So we have a few little doodads. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a 5x7 pinwheel, but because this is extra long, I'm going to just go, it's going to be a 5 1/4 pinwheel. So I'm going to put it at 5 1/4 and cut. I'm going to cut to 5. And then I'm going to put. Okay. So that's the start. So I don't need to do the 5x7 pinwheel, I realize. So I'm just going to put it at 5. And I'm going to cut to just past 5, because I just need it to be 5 by 5. So I'm going to cut 5 by 5 pieces off these corners. And then they can all be easily cut down to 4 3/4. And that'll clean up their edges and all of that. Last one. All right. So now we've got our little stack here. Okay. All right, so now what we need to do is we need to make a little template. And what this template is going to do, and we're just going to use the craft cardstock for this, the template is going to make it easy for us to put those slits in our pattern paper that we need for the pieces. So I'm going to make my template 4 3/4 by 4 3/4 because my template needs to be the same size as the pattern paper will be. Okay. So I have a 4 3/4 inch square. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little dab of ATG. Just going to remove some of the sticky. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this on this piece. So I'm just going to line it up exactly where I would want it on my pocket. and press it down. And then I'm going to close this and trace. And I'm going to go ahead and use a pen to trace. Just going to be careful. Okay. Now, this is the window into which we are going to put the two little straps, okay? So now I need to just start marking my other lines. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to first come in 1/8 of an inch, right? So I don't need to worry about perfect placement. I'm going to give myself that little wiggle room. All right. So now I've come in 1/8 of an inch around my window. And the pieces are themselves 1/4 of an inch. So what we're going to do is we're going to mark 3/8 of an inch in from each of the pencil lines, the long pencil lines. And that's going to tell us where to place our pieces. Or where to place our holes, rather. All right. So now I'm going to come in 3/8 of an inch in from the other pencil piece, pencil line. All right. So now what we have is we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pencil mark intersections, and we are going to punch a 1/8 inch, or sorry, 1/16 inch hole at each of those intersections. Okay. So I just line the cross made by the intersection of those two pencil lines up in the center of my hole as a bullseye, and that way I can see it. Okay. So now we have this, and so all I want to do is I want to remove the paper in between these holes. So I'm just going to pull out my glass mat. And I'm going to line up these holes and cut. And I line my ruler up with the kind of the bottom of each hole, or like the lowest point of the circle. All right. And then I'll do the other side as well. And then I'm just going to flip around my glass mat. The reason I'm flipping my glass mat around is just because I stuck this to the glass mat with a little bit of tape that was still on there. And I'm just going to do the other side. All right, so now I can kind of twist this off, and they all fell out. Okay, so we've got rid of all of our little bits. So I'm going to go ahead and put the glass mat away. And then our next step is to trim these pieces down to 4 3/4, because right now they're 5 by 5. Well, this one's 5 by 7. And so I just need to trim these to be 4 3/4 inch squares. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3. Okay. So I've got these 3 are now the same size as the template, so we can trace them. So we've got template 1, 2, 3. So now I need to do these 3. And now we have these 3. Aren't I excited to move and find my glass mat? My new old glass mat. Yeah, I don't know what happened to my new old glass mat. It's gone. Gone forever. All right. There's our 6 pieces. They look beautiful. Okay. So now what? So now we're going to trace this on these. Okay, but we need it to be in this upper left corner. So I'm going to put that behind them and then flip them over and trace it onto the back. Okay? All right, and that's all that you need traced. We can get where we need to go from there. No. The Disney album is still missing. So, yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna, I'll be right back. Ugh, had to go turn the AC down even farther. So I'm like sweating so much, even my soles of my feet are sweating. Every part of me is sweating. I don't know what it's like to be hydrated anymore. Now, if you're wondering what to do with all these templates for all these projects over the years, just keep them all like this. And with this one, you need to remove the adhesive. You can keep them all in manila file folders or like 9 by 12 or 10 by 13 envelopes, and just write on the folder or the envelope the name of the tutorial or album basics guide or YouTube playlist or whatever, you know, and then put them all in the envelope or put them all in the folder, and then just keep them all in a basket or something in your room. And then whenever you want to go remake one, you don't have to remake the templates. It's, you know, you still have them. All right. So now that we're to this point, we're just going to get back out the piece, and actually I'm going to try and punch through 3 at a time. Is this my smartest idea? I don't know. I don't know. Okay. Now I think the corner chomper, that's not a corner chomper. What are those called again? Power punch. I think the power punch could probably punch through 6 layers. What I don't trust is my ability to keep 6 layers straight. Okay, so now we've got all 6 of them punched. We're going to get out our glass mat and we're going to cut them apart. And you can use a ruler to line them up. This is all in your confidence level, how confident you are in being able to cut a straight line with just a pencil as a guide. So that's something that I'm not worried about being able to do myself. So I'm just going to freehand it. But of course, you know, you can use a ruler. Just do whatever works best for your comfort level. All right. And the biggest thing is you just want to make a space, you know, because those straps that we designed are um, 3 layers of paper thick. You know, you want to have a gap in the paper, not just a slit in the paper. But they're going to fill it, the gap themselves, pretty well, so you're not really going to see it as like a huge gap in the paper. Last one. All right. Okay, and there we go. Now we need to do some inking. And I'm going to use crushed olive, I think. No, peeled paint. Well, the color is actually Forest Moss, I think, is the closest, because this is peeled paint and this is crushed olive. Now, I've told you before, olive is yellow. You can see how yellow olive is right here. But I think it's Forest Moss that is the one that's the actual match for this paper, so that's what I'll use. So we'll go ahead and get that out. Drawer 3. Oh no, Donna, no. Well, the video will be up right after class, so you'll be able to catch up, but that's too bad. Ooh, this little guy, he looks like he's disintegrating. And when I pushed him down to pick up the ink, he just like flattened and stayed flat, so I think we'll replace him. Bye bye, Spongy Poo. We'll get a new Spongy Poo. But yeah, there's in the archives, there's a folder for this project, and then the video will be posted for what you missed, will be posted first thing tomorrow. So it'll be there when you wake up on YouTube. So depending on where you're watching, you can find it one of those 2 places. You can find it both of those places if you want. Okay, so all I'm going to do now is I'm going to ink the edges. First. Okay, and then without re-inking, I'm just gonna brush over the holes. I'm just trying to put a little green into this area, but I'm not trying to make it super green. See how that's way too much green. All right, so just be careful not to do too much. Oh, wow. So Donna said she had a blending tool just sitting on her desk for a minute, and it disintegrated, and now it's stuck to her desk. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. So Barbara Jean said, you know, for smaller areas like this, you can use a Q-tip. That's smart. So you can just rub the Q-tip on those little guys. And I'm putting my finger behind to kind of curl them a little bit. So you can see I'm getting ink on my finger. That's so that I can hit those edges just a little bit better, because that curl will open them up, separate them from each other, just that little scooch more to help me get the ink in there. Yeah, they'll call them mini ink blenders, and they'll cost 10 times as much. All right, and that is that. So now to finish the construction, what we've got to do is we've got to do the, first let me wash my hand so this doesn't cause me a problem down the line. All right. I'll just give my desk a little wipe while I'm at it. I've got some paint over here from my art project, my last art project. All right, so now we need our little green strips. So let me get the piece of paper where I wrote everything down, because what we're going to do is we're going to make our dozen straps. Okay, so we're making these right now, these smaller straps, these the vertical ones. So we're going to make those. We need a dozen of them because we need 2 per wallet, and I have 6 wallets. So now I wrote down what they were. 3/4 of an inch by 3.5 inches. Add Tyvek, I said. I think I won't, though. I think I won't. Okay, so 3/4 of an inch by 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my stack of scraps, my scrap stack. And anything that's at least 3.5 inches, that's where we're going to start. Okay. So these get scored at 1/4, 1/2, and 3/4. 1/4, 1/2. It doesn't get scored at 3/4. 3/4 is left blank. So then I'm going to move and I'm going to score at 1, 1/4, and then I'm going to move over 1/2 inch, score, and then score at the next one, then move over 1/2 inch, score, and then score. All right, so I was able to get 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's good. So because basically what you are ending up with is something that's 3/4 of an inch that's scored at 1/4 and 1/2 and like folded trifold. Okay, so if that's 4, this is 8, we just need 1 more and that's 12. How easy. Okay. All right. So now we just need to cut these to 3.5. But I actually don't think that size matters. That's just the size I made them because I used a scrap. So I'm going to leave them this size and we'll see if it works. But I think it's like, yes, they were 7 inches and then I cut them in half lengthwise. That's why I wrote down 3.5. So right now these are 5. So we'll find out if 5 is too big, I guess. All right, so now I just need to cut them apart. So I'm going to cut them. See where I have these 1/2 inches? I'm going to cut them so that that's split in half. All right. And that'll make my pieces. Now, if I need to cut them after I've cut these, if it turns out these are too long, then we'll cut these guys. So what we may find is that in addition to there being, what the heck? Oh, is that just wind? Ugh. The weather heard me talking about how I was going to outsmart it. So now it's after us, friends. Okay. Now, when you go to glue these, you may have one side that's slightly shorter than the other. If you do, glue that one down first. Okay? So if you have one that's slightly shorter than the other, glue it down first. Okay, so the bacon press doesn't really work. We are going to have to finger hold them. Luckily it's Scotch Quick Dry, so shouldn't be too bad. I find if I just count to 10, it's good enough. Other glues may need less time or more time. Alright, so once you've glued one side down, then you just go back and glue the other side down. Okay, and then on this one I have a couple areas that are gaping, and I'm just going to stick the tip of my glue in there and push some glue into the folds that aren't holding, and then press it down again, and then hopefully that'll keep it flat. All right. All right. Last one. Okay. All right, so now I have one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it to its cleanest side. And I'm going to start from the back, weave up from the front, and then go turn it back around and push it under. Okay, so this is going to be too long because we don't want them to meet in the middle. And this will have them meeting in the middle. So they can be short of each other, but they can't be too long. So I'm just gonna cut. So they don't have to touch in the middle, but they cannot overlap. And then just add your glue and press and hold again. All right, we cut off about this much, which is about 1.5 inches, and these are 5 inches. So the maximum it can be is 3.5 inches, which is the size I wrote down. So apparently thought went into that measurement. That wasn't just because that's what worked out. So, so 3.5 inches is correct. Not just good enough, close enough. It's correct. So I'm going to trim down the 2 that I haven't cut yet. So they're the correct height. So they're now 3.5. And then these 2 are, ooh, okay, we're okay. All right, I'm just gonna set that on that, and then these 3 I'm gonna cut down to 3.5. So 1, 2, 3.5-ish. Okay. All right, so there we go. So 3.5 was correct. There we go. So now that's how it looks. It actually looks very nice. So it's the same thing as before. Whichever way looks more finished to you, go ahead and put it through, like weave it through. You just want, you know, the same amount on either side. And then you just need to kind of okay, then once you've got it folded into place and pressed, you can just stick your glue. Then give it a good 30-second hold. Or until when you remove it, it just kind of stays stuck down, and then I'm just gonna rest that on there where I work on while I work on the next 2. Okay. Yeah, we'll be able to work quickly enough to do 2 at once, and that'll speed things up a little bit. This does take more time than a magnet. But for those of you who are having trouble getting magnets, who just don't care for magnets in general, who like thinking of ways to use only paper, things like that. This is a good alternative closure. And it does look cool. So that's good. All right, so I'm gonna move this one, and then we're gonna go ahead and give that one the bacon press. And we're done because each of these has 4, so it can do 2. And so now we just need to get the paper trimmer and start gluing again. And we'll just call this the sassy belt closure. The sassy belt closure. Okay, so once again, fold in the sides and glue. My goodness. I thought this would be a little bit quicker, but here we see the realities of real-time crafting. Oh, I have to make 12 paper origami things and glue them down. Cool, cool, cool. Now, if you do all 31 days in December, wait, is December 31 days, right? Yeah. Yeah. So if you do all 31 days of December, or if then that's 62 you'll have to make. If you do 12 days of Christmas, you'll need to make 24. So this is definitely one of those things where it's like, put on your favorite show, put on, you know, time to rewatch Grey's Anatomy. So, no, it's not going to take you that long. All right, so, all right, everyone's talking about pasta in the chat. Let's see, Barbara Jean has a Veggie Lovers lasagna in the oven. Melanie's having cheese enchiladas, which I guess is not pasta, but still sounds good. Bev also had lasagna. Donna is going to make spaghetti. Maybe tonight is the night for me to try my new quick and easy chicken parm idea, which is, let me float it past the chat. Here's my thought. Okay, so we have from Costco the Tyson's panko nuggets and tenders, which if you're looking for a good frozen nugget or tender, those are good, especially if you cook them in the air fryer. They actually get crunchy. I mean, if you don't like a crunchy nugget, I guess it depends on whether you like your nuggets to be crunchy or not. But if you like your nugget to have a crunchy coating, okay, those are the way to go. The Tyson's, not all Tyson's, the panko, specifically the panko ones, okay? So here's my thought. Put those all in the little air fryer basket. Okay. Then sprinkle Parmesan cheese on top, just the green dust from the can. Nothing fancy. On top of the panko crusted chicken nuggets or chicken tenders. Then you air fry them like normal. And now you have Parmesan panko chicken tenders or chicken nuggets. Then you make whatever pasta you like with whatever sauce you like, just like you would for like spaghetti and meatballs or pasta and meatballs. And then you put the nuggets on top, and it's like quick and easy chicken parm bake. And because the chicken was not cooked with the pasta, right, it shouldn't get soggy. So I think I might be onto something. But we'll see. I haven't tried it yet. Okay, so Donna says she was originally planning on using ribbon and now she's concerned it might not match all the papers. What could be good is to use a contrasting ribbon to your base. So if you did a green base, to do a red ribbon or something like that. Or if like your collection is mostly pink and blue and you did a blue base, do a pink ribbon, something like that. That could work, because then all your ribbons could be the same and they'd be a solid and you wouldn't have to worry about them matching, but they would coordinate with all of the papers. But yeah, because my problem with chicken parm is that it's always soggy. So I know I've seen ways to do, like Alton Brown has a no sog chicken parm recipe that I might try sometime. But like, I like the idea of chicken parm, but execution wise it's usually soggy and I don't like it. Now Gretchen wants chicken parm. But like real chicken parm, not my fake chicken parm bake, right? Gluing is very exciting. We're 90 minutes into the into this recording. I need to do a recording break, but it's like I feel like I'm so close to being done, but I'm really probably not. It's just because of how long it's taking to make all these little straps. But if it's a long recording, it's a long recording. You know, sometimes that happens. Sometimes you have a long recording. All right. I'm putting them under there when I'm pretty sure they're going to stay shut. So I'm holding them until I'm pretty sure they're done, and they're just going under the bacon press as a safety measure. So that's what we are gonna do. All right, so we're just gonna continue. We only have 4 left, so we're not too bad. Maybe what we'll do is we'll adhere these two, so we're not just, no, let's just get these done. Let's just get these done. I learned restaurants fry all kinds of things that we normally don't fry at home because they are moister inside. So like meatballs they deep fry, things like that, because it keeps them moist and keeps them from drying out on the inside. So there's like a lot of deep frying in, you know, restaurant kitchens. We pretty much only deep fry fried chicken. That's really all we deep fry. We do have a deep fryer because that's what works best for really the only way we've been able to fry chicken without it being a disaster. So maybe they're onto something with the deep frying in restaurants. So doop 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 doop. Oh, goodness me. Maybe what we should do is just not bake it. You know, maybe we should just make a great sauce, make a great crunchy chicken, and then just swirl the sauce on the plate and set the chicken on top. And then be like, yes, this is chicken parm. This is. Dun 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 dun. We just have one more after this one. We're almost there. The finish line is in sight. Well, we'll at least get these all totally done today. Yeah, just when when people say something like, "Oh, but that's not chicken parm," you can be like, "What? Of course it is." You can be like, chicken parm isn't baked in the sauce. What are you talking about? I don't know what chicken parm you've been eating. So. All right. Last one, last one, last one. We're almost there. We've always been at war with, is it East Asia? Eurasia? Well, I forgot who we've always been at war with. Okay, so I've taken 2 out from under the bacon press. I don't know why I put the chicken upside down parm. There we go. Just trying to clean some of the glue off my fingers because the cardstock is sticking to the glue on my fingers a little bit. Just gonna vigorously wipe them off. I don't know why I put the glue away. I'm not done with the glue. All right. So now it's time for this one. Okay. So just get them folded in there. And then essentially what I'm doing is I'm using my delaminator. That's what this thing is called. And I'm using it to flatten it out on the other side. So I don't want it to have a bow here. I want it to be as flat as possible. So I'm flattening these, and then I'm stopping at the top of the holes, and then pushing with my bone folder, pushing up so that the kind of pinches between the two. And that's giving me a good fold that I can then just kind of fold them both over, and then I can press them down to put a good crease in them. But that's going to keep it very flat. That's what I want. I want to keep it as flat as possible. I don't want to, in the folding process, put a bow in the paper. So we're just trying to keep it as flat and tidy as possible. Then once they kind of know where they're folded and where they want to go, I can just run the glue up their backs. And then fold them over. And just hold them. And when you fold them, just fold gently, just so you're laying them down. You're not pressing them down. You're not tugging on them, pushing on them, pulling on them. You just want to lay them gently down and then just hold them in place. And, you know, because this is 3 layers of paper folded together so that you've got, you know, that's quite a thick crease. You want to just give it a little extra time with holding it with your fingers. And then I'm just going to come and kind of clean up the glue a little bit and then press it again. Okay, and when I'm pretty sure it's going to stick, all this glue on my table. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to put it under a bacon press, but like it's off to the side so you won't see it, but it is under a bacon press. All right. I just look and see which side looks nicer and cleaner to me, and I put that side face down so that that's the side that'll show. And then slide and up and slide and up. Slide and up and slide and up, and then This one got a little twisted. Oh my gosh. Intern Liz isn't gonna make it. All right. Then we can just lay everybody down. Go to sleep. Go to sleep, little friends. Just rest there. Oh. All right. All right, just 2 left. Okay. We are almost done. Once we conclude this, then it's just a matter of getting these taped and stuck down. And then that'll finish off this. Well, that'll finish the construction. No, then we have one more section of construction, which is the strap and then the thing that goes in the window. So I think what we'll do is we'll do that in the next part. And I have an idea for how to do those windows. All right, so now I'm gonna go put this under a bacon press, again, just off camera, off to the side. And then we'll do this one, and this will be the last one. And then we can start putting the adhesive on these and attaching them to the books, or to the wallets, I should say. All right. And when you do this project and you think about this project, you know, think about it as just like a shell or a framework. You know, this is not, there's nothing about the design of this that says it has to be used for a holiday project or that it has to be used for December daily. December daily was in my mind when I designed it, but that doesn't mean you couldn't make, for say someone's graduation, you could do one wallet for each year of school and put the highlights of each year of school in the wallet, and then they have all their memories from school. You could do a baby's first year this way very easily. You could do anything where you want to combine things that are maybe thematically related but not necessarily sequential. Even a travel album, this would work well because you could have, you know, one wallet for each attraction you visited or each location on your itinerary, you know, all kinds of stuff. This would work as a year of cultural, if you wanted to do a year of cultural events, this could work for that. I might try doing that again in 2024. So Barbara Jean says this would make a great wedding or birthday gift as well. Especially if, yeah, she said you could send it to participants to fill with pictures and memories and then make the box filled up and give it. Well, or you could send an email out to everyone to say, hey, please write me a note about this many words and send your 3 favorite pictures of you and whoever. And then you could just print it all out. Because if you send the wallets to people, you're never getting them back. That's just, you know. You just have, at least not all of them. So, all right. So now, okay. So, all right, we've got 4 under bacon presses right now. So 2 each under 2 bacon presses, and then these are the 2 that I'm pretty confident are dry. So we'll start adding the tape now, and I'll show you where I would put the tape and why. Okay. So first things first, I'm gonna put 3/8 inch tape all the way around the edges, because we are going to want to put the edges down. Make sure the edges are well stuck down. And then I'm going to make a little box around this, because this is going to get tugged on, so I really want it to be stuck down itself as well. Okay, and then at this point, we just burnish because we want to make sure this stickiness is caused by the humidity and the glue residue on my desk. So that's why it keeps making that sticking noise. All right. So now we should be able to peel all this tape. And just stick this down. All right. All right, moment of truth. Look how beautiful. Look how beautiful. Love it. All right. So there we go. We've got one. We've got one. All right. So now we're going to finish the rest of them. And then we'll make a template for the flap. And then we'll go from there. I have not seen the Barbie movie. I haven't been to the movies in a while. I don't think I will be going to the movies for a while. I don't know. I'm in some kind of like anti-seasonal depression. I'm in a hermit mode. I can't bear the idea of being outside. So, I mean, it's a nightmare to be inside, but just stepping outside for even 1 second is horrific. So, I think July and August are going to be my winters. I'm just not going to go outside. Ah, it worked again. Go team. All right, next two. But who knows? Perhaps I will summon the will. I do want to see the Barbie movie, but as yet have not wanted to see the Barbie movie more than I wanted to not be outside swimming through the air. Gonna have to go move into Donna's guest room so I can just use her pool until it's over. She can inflate me a mattress. Well, we were talking about this, Donna, Liz and I, that we probably wouldn't mind as much if we still had a pool. We think that's like a large part of it is, oh, nice. She has a king bed. She's got a fancy, she's got plenty of room for us to stretch out. I'll just bring Liz too. We'll just spend a week in Donna's pool. All right. So we'll remove the tape and stick these down. I mean, just beautiful. Okay. Well, I didn't think so either, Gretchen. We would have to move to have a pool. I don't think this property has a place for a pool. It has plenty of land, but it's all, you know, straight up. So, there's one area in the back, maybe, that you could put in a pool, but I don't know. Well, we might get, do some research on nice, like, above ground pools that ones that, you know, that have the filter and that don't permanently destroy everything, if there is such a thing. I want to do more research, but, you know, and we could also talk to a pool company about, hey, you know, we don't see a place for a pool, but do you see a place for a pool? But I'm not, I'm just going to assume there's no way to put a pool in, because that way I can't be like planning to put a pool in and then get sad when I can't. Well, that's what I'm hoping, Gretchen. One of the things we've been talking about is we've been picking little towns in Georgia to go on road trips and things, little weekend trips, and we're thinking in the fall it'll actually be like really nice and beautiful to do all that. So that's kind of what I mean when I say this is like the winter. So this, you know, and then we were here in the winter, you know, Mr. Lifeguard and I were here in January, February, and yes, there were a couple times we were up here and it was like cold, uncomfortable, don't want to be out in this, but mostly it was just chilly. And that's not the end of the world, you know. And then after we moved, even into March, there was a few times where we were like, wow, it's kind of cold, you know, but nobody was ever freezing, miserable, you know, any of that. So we think it'll just be, we'll be fine until we get used to it one way or the other, you know. So yeah, I mean, the Southwest has much hotter, much higher temperatures, but it's not as wet. So, you know, you have the dry heat, which in some, well, there's a certain temperature where once you get above it, nothing's comfortable. But, you know, 90 degrees in the Southeast feels different than 90 degrees in the Southwest. But you don't usually get 110 degrees in the Southeast, and you can get 110 degrees in the Southwest. So it's just different struggles for different areas. But the one thing I like is the grass. It's turf. I don't know if, you know, if that's like a totally different thing or if turf is a part of the grass family or what, but it grows so slowly, which is nice because the amount of mowing is so much less than in Florida, but also the grass covers the ground better. And even though we had drought resistant grass in Florida, it was still like, our yard was struggling. Now, like it was just past the point where anything could be done with it, and there are areas that needed to be resodded. which they never did. Yeah, it doesn't have irrigation. That's the problem. I mean, we don't have irrigation here either, but that's my point actually, is the grass doesn't need it. It's just living its little grass life, doing itself. It doesn't, you know, require you to think about it all the time, which is nice. Now sometimes the edge of the pattern paper might be kind of on top of your cardstock, and if that, your cardstock loop, and if that happens, just kind of lift your loop and push it underneath. All right. Okay, so we now have finished this phase of the construction. All right. So we've got our backs done. So the only thing left to be totally done with construction is to do the straps. So we're going to talk about that in the next video. So that's going to be the end of this recording. This is a really long recording, actually, 2 hours, my goodness. But that's done. So in the next video, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the strap that wraps around and the pattern paper that holds it down, and designing. I want to design little scenes with the collection to go in those windows. So we're going to talk about that as well. So I'm going to do a recording break here. So for those of you who are watching in the archives, just click ahead and go to the next video. Those of you who are on YouTube, just check the playlist for the next video. If it's not there, it'll be there in a day or two, so just hang tight. And then if it is there, just click ahead to the next video. Thanks so much for watching. I'm here Thursdays at 2 p.m. and 9 p.m. sometimes, weather permitting. And I'll be right back with another video. Bye now.